Okay, hello and welcome to another edition of the Dugout. We are in the middle of the IPL, and while most of our days we're busy discussing the IPL, today again being third off day from the games, not off day for us, but third off day from a live game. We thought let's also touch upon Indian cricket because the T20 World Cup is not too far away. Players, one batch is leaving today, and one batch is to be leaving in a couple of days' time. And interestingly, not a single member of the 19-member squad, 15 plus 4, has made it to the final. So all the more they have enough time and luxury to be taking that flight, getting to the US of A. So all that has been sorted. Maybe IPL's loss is going to be the Indian cricket team's gain. But what we're going to discuss today is another burning matter in Indian cricket, and that has been around the coach. A couple of days ago we did the Dugout where we were picking the pros and cons of each contender, and we zeroed it down to a few, and each of us had our own preference. But now we can further zero it down, considering the BCCI has come and literally, not in as many words, but almost told you that they ain't looking at an overseas coach, and that they are looking at somebody who has the understanding of Indian cricket, the grassroots, and so on and so forth, which means effectively it is an Indian coach that they're looking at. What we're going to be discussing today, is that the right call? What is the reason behind it? And why is it that foreign coaches themselves haven't been keen? Is it the quote unquote politics in Indian cricket, which is 1,000 times more than IPL teams? All of that we'll discuss as we go along. My first question is, what do you think prompted BCCI to firstly come out and say that the media reports are wrong? Because, I mean, BCCI seldom confirms or denies any media reports.
No.
Media reports come by the dozen every week for the last few years. Non-stop they've been coming, but never has BCCI ever sent a press release. At best, the only clarification sometime you get is that if there is that rare press conference, you ask the coach or the captain, then they confirm or deny, or in that rare occasion where the secretary has an informal discussion with reporters, then he confirms, denies. Or in that rare occasion that the secretary is speaking at the stage of another function and he says a few things, that becomes the only. This was the very first time they've sent a release out denying the media reports. So what do you think would have prompted that? And secondly, the fact that they've also given you a clue the kind of coach that they're looking at. This is something that they needn't have. I mean, they could still have something in their mind. Why do you think? What's the crux of it? What's the genesis of this press release?
I think it's very difficult to first of all understand the kind of clarification that the BCCI have given, that they have probably not approached an Australian or maybe the Australians for the head coach's job, because when you look at the interviews of Ricky Ponting and Justin Langer, to be specific, so Ponting has, I think, said that there were a bit of discussions, but he did not really specify the names of the stakeholders with which the discussion had probably taken place. And same in case of Justin Langer, who just had an off the field or maybe just a casual discussion with a certain KL Rahul, who could land in hot water because of his
That's
comments.
another discussion.
Yeah, that's another discussion. So I don't know, but if the discussions haven't been as I said, that they haven't been taken with the relevant stakeholders, then I think BCCI are probably right in issuing the clarification that they have had in the media. And I think coming to the second question that Nikhil you have asked, I somehow am okay with having a local coach or maybe an Indian coach, to be very honest.
No, that's okay. That also is something we'll discuss, whether you're okay. My point is, why is it that the BCCI needed to spell that out? My question is that. I'm not saying that it's wrong what they're thinking or right. That may be the case, which we'll debate as we go. What is the genesis of the release? Why do you think they had to tell this to everyone? They haven't ever said this before. There have been coaches interviewed, there have been overseas coaches that have auditioned, there have been Indian coaches. You picked an Indian coach, last 3 coaches have been Indian. But they've never come out and said this. What do you think could be the reason that they do it?
It is very difficult to pinpoint. Either the speculations are just too much in your face to ignore. Maybe that is the reason why the BCCI had to come clean. Anyway, because of their very opaque and very, you may say, selective and convenient way of communicating a decision, it gives rise to a lot of speculations, and that's the only reason I can think about. I can't
No,
pinpoint the fact.
but speculation, your point is because they feared a lot of speculation will happen, you sent a release out. Boss, there are worse things that have been leaked in the media that everyone has carried, which have led to worse kind of speculation, but yet they've never bothered to address it. Why this time?
Maybe course correction, like they're trying to undo for their past mistakes and all that?
No. Can I tell you why? Because for the very first time, the flak was directed at the BCCI.
Yeah.
So what had happened before this all speculation would happen, that BCCI is not interested in taking Virat Kohli to the team. BCCI has had a meeting, or like selectors have had a meeting with the coach, they've decided not to take this player. They've had a meeting and they have issued a warning to Shreyas Iyer. They've had a meeting, or Ishan Kishan has been, some of them have been right, some of them have been wrong, but every time the player in question has been an India team player.
Yes.
It has never been directed at the BCCI. My point is, on those occasions, the BCCI has been okay with speculation going because it did not harm them. There was no, a blot on their image. So BCCI, okay, speculation chal rahi hai. Let them carry on. Why should we confirm or deny? They may have known that a certain news doing the rounds is false, as has been, but have never bothered to address is whether, BCCI never came out and said whether they had told Hardik to continue as a captain or not, whether Rohit, whatever you've heard is clarification from Rohit or a Hardik or wherever else. BCCI has never done it. For the first time you said BCCI is searching, and I tell you the reason, it's not just the blot on BCCI. I think the major reason that I think it played on the BCCI's ego. You know what played on the BCCI ego? We are the richest board in the world. We do everything. And guess what? Here is a Ricky Ponting saying, no, boss, I don't want to be coach. Here is a Stephen Frank, no, I'm not interested in the job. Here is a Justin Langer saying, I don't know. And BCCI is like, what the hell? We have the biggest job in the world. We're advertising for it. And you guys are saying we don't want to hell with you. When did we ever ask you to do it?
Exactly.
We are not going to be, here goes boss, we have not asked any of them. That's
what I was thinking. It felt like reclaiming the narrative or reclaiming the dominant position in the narrative, because it has to be a bad look for the BCCI that, listen, the job is available, and not one, not two, but three noted foreign coaches said, no thanks.
Actually more.
No, three though officially we know of. Fleming was very strongly reported. Ponting and Langer directly came out and said as much.
Forget that. I mean, the fact is that I give you more name. VVS Lakshman has said he's not keen, but it's got nothing to do with India job. He doesn't want to.
He just doesn't want
travel.
To yeah.
He's okay doing coaching at a different level. Rahul Dravid himself, who they were keen that keen. Extent,
he's not keen. Yeah.
So it's not. I mean, there are multiple people saying we're not interested, and here the whole narrative, as you're saying, is that this is the most prestigious job in world cricket. And everyone is saying, so I thought BCCI, but I mean, do you think, again, I'm going, fine, they've set the record. Do you think Ricky Ponting would lie?
No, I have no reason to believe that a Ponting or a Langer would lie in this case.
So then where does the thing? So one is that BCCI said, what the hell? You guys are saying that we don't interested, so I'll put the record straight. We don't even want you guys. That's effectively what they've said. Put it in a different way, but this is what they've said. If you put both things together, one that we've not approached and the second we're only looking at an Indian, they've pretty much said, who is even asking you to come? We don't want you. My point is, that is another thing. But why would the BCCI also say that we have an approach if they have approach? And why is a Ricky Ponting going to say, see, somebody has to be lying here.
You may have to say it is the BCCI, because look, the foreign players, what are they going to get by lying? The foreign candidates, they also know that they have a lucrative IPL contract every single year that they come here, okay? So they will not alienate that.
Maybe they didn't realize that it will upset the BCCI. See, the difference here is, like you're saying, that they would not want to do anything to harm their relationship with the BCCI. But the thing is that when Ricky Ponting said it, he wouldn't have realized that it would rub the BCCI the wrong way. He's just stating the obvious. You approached him, he said, no, I'm thinking. Only to realize, see, again, I'll get to Justin Langer. Maybe even Justin Langer did not know when he says this, that how this will play out. Maybe a Mark Boucher did not know when he spoke about the captaincy and how it's going to play out. Maybe A.B. de Villiers did not know when he had to speak about the private conversation he had with Virat Kohli. The issue is it's a difference of culture. The overseas players don't mind whatever the conversation is happening. If it's put out on record, they do not read between the lines. There is nothing else associated. They mention it that this happened because maybe in their culture it's never misconstrued as, you know, anti you or insulting you or something like that. They just said it. Here, because we are so sensitive, that's why when players write autobiographies and so many things, they will never mention the real stories. Now, Indian players' autobiographies are boring by, they'll only mention this happened on the ground, that happened in the ground, this one,
I
that
felt good,
one,
I felt bad.
Correct.
Oh, okay.
But they will not mention that, see, it's not possible they wouldn't have had disagreements. How is a team not going to, it's not possible that they didn't have friction with the captain or the coach. It will happen sometime. And a lot of times we knew, but they'll never write about it because they don't want to upset the players and there'll be bad blood for the rest of their life. You'll hold a grudge, so they avoid it. Whereas if you see overseas players, they write even about their friends. If they had a fight, they'll write it as it is, whatever happened. So that is what they didn't realize. But now BCCI, having seen that, is now offended. I don't think these players realize that they'll be offending the BCCI.
True, but then what other option do they have then? If they are asked a question about this, why would a Ponting or a Langer say in between the lines?
See,
they are blunt about it. They'll say yes or they'll say no.
Absolutely. And let's just be clear about one thing. In the two interviews of Ponting and Langer, Ponting was the only one who said that there were some conversations that were held. But in case of Langer, he was never like reached out to as in case of Ponting.
No, maybe he was and he didn't mention it because he just ruled himself out of the job.
Yeah.
He read about it and said, no, you know, I don't want a full-time job. And to be fair, he's coached the Australia team. In fact, his comments, I remember, he said that it's an intense job.
Yes.
And I'm talking about the Australian job. I don't even want to talk about how the Indian job would be. So maybe he just says his way of ruling himself out and saying, listen, I've just gotten a contract with a new franchise in the IPL. Why would I want that destabilizing? Maybe his intention was to tell LSG that, listen, I'm not going to be lured. So if you're worried about me jumping ship, don't be.
But still, okay, now by both the conversations, okay, it's an indication that they have not been approached by, right?
Yeah.
Formally.
No.
Ponting
Ponting
clearly
clearly,
was.
Langer no.
Ponting did.
That's why I'm saying there's a conflict there. Somebody is lying.
It could be the BCCI trying to reassert itself that, okay, as you said, we are the richest board in the world. How dare you? How dare you?
What are ego?
Yes.
They want to control the narrative.
Ego massaging in this particular.
The only other option is that, see, if A is saying something, B is saying something, there has to be somebody who's lying, right? Yeah. The only other option where you could give benefit of doubt to A and B could be is what Siddharth alluded to in the conversation earlier, that maybe the conversation with Ponting did happen, but maybe it did not happen with the secretary and few other members.
Yeah.
Maybe it was
formal.
No, maybe it was opened up by somebody. See, I'll tell you why I thought of that is because he suggested it earlier. I wasn't ready to believe it, but I was like, because the news leaks that happen in the media, how do they happen? Why is it that a certain news leaks are wrong? It's not that the reporter has not spoken to someone. He 100% has. But what happens is that BCCI is made up of multiple members or stakeholders. So I speak to somebody, he gives me his opinion and I publish it thinking that this is BCCI's opinion. Whereas that may not be the BCCI opinion. BCCI is a body, they need to meet together and then reach a decision, then that becomes BCCI opinion. Before that, it's always the opinion of the members of the BCCI. It's possible that a member or a prominent member of the BCCI, or it could even be not like they have the cricket advisory committee, they have, director of cricket, various other things. It doesn't always have to be secretary. Maybe one of them made this approach and spoke to him. And that's why he treats it, because it's coming from treats it like, maybe the secretary never approached, and then the secretary hears these kind of things and says, or the president did not approach, and they hear that what is this happening, so they put their opinion out. That can be the only other scenario. The third option, one option is either BCCI did approach him but now not liking the narrative, so they have put a release out, which is false, or it's the other way around. Ricky Ponting was never approached, While you may not want to believe it, I'm just saying that's the other option where he wasn't approached. But talking about coaching, he said I've been approached. Or the third is only this: Ricky Ponting was approached from someone from within the BCCI, but maybe the powers that be did not, and they did not like this, so they put a release out. That's the only.
Maybe the fourth option is stop the leak.
Yeah.
Stop the leaking. That might be the diktat. It may not be given to most of the other people outside of the BCCI, but it could be a diktat also to within the BCCI. Stop leaking information indirectly. That is the way how I look at it. You say
so that's effectively the third option only. It is effectively the third thing happened. Third thing happened, and they've issued the release for that.
Yes. No more releasing of these kind of information.
Yeah, but that's not possible. There are so many people.
Exactly.
How do you stop it? How do you ensure?
That is why.
Then you would want everyone to be bind through a contract. Okay, we
No,
had a
there may
discussion
be-
with you, but you
Even
do
that's
not
impossible.
have
How do you
a
track?
media.
How do you track?
How do you
There are
stop the leak?
multiple candidates for it.
And not just that, I've heard from certain reporters who their sources are, or at least gotten hints. And I'm not revealing anything here, but some of the names are pretty shocking.
Yeah.
So it's not even like a case of you're catching someone. Listen, these aren't little
Small
tunas.
fish, they are-
These aren't little tunas. You're catching the big fish here, the big fish in the sea. Again, not naming any names, but more often than not, the ones that are there. It's something, the culture, and these reporters have made these sources over years.
Yeah.
It's not just changing with one position here or there. You don't know. I mean, even if it's there ironclad in their employment contracts that you cannot leak, short of taking their phones and checking it periodically who they're calling, there's no way you're going to know. Exactly.
Not possible also, because it's the BCCI's own machinations. No, look at the way how they communicate. Look at the way how certain messages are conveyed, especially for captaincy. Prior to Rohit, the captaincy decision to remove Virat was, look at the chaos it ensued.
No, I think the worst, if we're talking about the BCCI, the worst I remember it being was during the CAC era.
Oh, COA.
COA era,
COA,
sorry.
yeah.
Because that was next level. You were getting leaks from the powers that be in the BCCI, not the COA. You were getting COA leaks. It was a mess.
Yeah, it
That
was
was
free
a
for
next level mess.
Free for
Because there was it was very opaque, as we say.
Yeah.
But it was leakier than the Titanic having hit the iceberg. Let's put it that way.
Okay, next question. Basis whoever said what is another thing, but one thing that we know for certain, because that is on record, so it's not he said this, she said that, is that most coaches have been reluctant to take the job. I mean, this is in fact the biggest job that there is in cricket. Why is nobody interested in taking it?
Workload management.
I mean, this is something, before even the press release came, I thought about it. I was like, everyone you go to says, no, I don't want to do. What?
Workload management. We are no longer in the era.
Expectations which are almost next to impossible now.
No,
No, he's saying something else, okay?
So my thing is that workload management, I think nowadays you're seeing a lot of coaches, even national team coaches, will only take up split coaching is very much becoming the norm.
Yeah.
Because these guys do want time at home. They want that time with their family. Whilst they may be passionate about coaching, it doesn't have to be a 365 day a year sort of a gig. And if you have to want to commit to the BCCI way of doing things, one coach, 3 formats, that means 10 months. If you're a foreign coach, 10 months on the road, 2 months, no, you're not taking it. Especially when you consider the kind of schedules they've gotten used to working now. Stephen Fleming may coach 4 teams in different leagues, but all of the leagues happen differently, which actually means 1 month, 2 months is the longest he's working at a time. I don't blame him for not wanting to do it. If I was making more money with relatively less pressure than what the Indian job would give me, I'd take it. The only way I would commit to it is if I really wanted it. And I think in today's day and age, a lot of former players are not wanting for work because of the structures of the way the franchise tournaments now work, and with the fact that a lot of countries are going the split coaching route. So, I mean, England have 2 coaches, right? There's a Matthew Mott there, and there's a Baz McCullum. McCullum, when there's no test cricket going on, can go on his farm in New Zealand and chill.
No, but what happened to, I mean, that I find that hard to believe. What is wrong in also working full time? There are gazillion people today, whatever profession that they are in, they are working full time, right?
Compare it to other sports.
Yeah, but
tougher.
No, but even then, as I said, even if you're a football coach for a league, you're 8 months busy. Yeah.
8 months busy, but then the travel is not as intense.
Yeah,
you're
but,
having your days more often than not. You're living at home.
But your players are also traveling now. All format players are traveling. My point is that since when has this happened? Like, see, they're not the first coaches, right? They were coaches before that. People used to be, and I'm not even going that far. I'm going back. I remember the time Greg Chappell was selected. Everyone wanted to be an India coach. India was still traveling that much. Everyone, they wanted to get that prize job. It didn't matter if they're, working for 11 months, whatever. Suddenly this change, and I will only blame one thing for this change, and that thing is IPL is spoiled.
Yes, the golden goose has now shifted.
Yeah, no, so because you can make that much money in 2 months, you're saying, why should I work the whole year?
Look at the coaching salary that you may get for working about 10 months with the Indian team. Somewhat about 1 crore, 2 crore, 3 crore maybe.
What is Dravid's contract worth? Do we know?
I think it is that much only. Over 1 crore per season.
Yeah.
Okay? Over 1 crore. Now, compare that with an IPL. Suppose Stephen Fleming, he'll be part of SA20, he'll be part of IPL, he'll be part of MLC.
Correct.
Yeah.
And he's also coaching some team in the 100 also.
100, okay. So, from April to September, April to August at max, that is 6 months.
Even the 6 months comes with breaks.
With breaks, okay. With breaks, 6 months, almost double or triple the salary. Pressure is there. I mean, the IPL makes it up for all the other lack of pressures in the other leagues also.
Yes.
I'm working lesser, getting more money, also having bit of a break. Why should I then be committed to the Indian cricket team when I know that I will be crucified if I don't do well? The scanner, the focus will be 24/7 into 365 always on me. The spotlight and the intensity will be huge.
Yes.
Here, I can live behind the scenes also in a T20 league. For example, for Stephen Fleming, he is not on the spot. He'll just come for the press conference. 15 years, that's been his only aim. Come for the press conference. But that is MS Dhoni's team. The spotlight is on Dhoni. It's not on Fleming.
Yeah.
Here, look at in the 2.5 years. If Rohit didn't do well or Virat didn't do well, the spotlight was on Dravid.
And he would always be the one fronting up to the
Fronting up. Now, with 11 years of not having won an ICC event, the expectation level has gone unbelievably high.
It's nuclear.
Exactly.
It's nuclear. Now, why would I want to take that? When I can earn more money, have some mental sanity in the T20 leagues that I'm going to coach, why would I want to take this poison chalice up?
And in fact, with nowadays, with a lot of IPL teams kind of extending their remits to leagues around the world, investing the money, they have bigger roles. Look at Mahela Jayawardene. He's not only the head coach of MI, or was the head coach of MI till very recently, but he also had a
director of operations all over the
Even talent scout is also one of them.
Yes.
No, but my point is 2 things that need to be done, no? And this is something that they need to introspect instead of sending the release out. One, make it attractive, then make it so much more conducive to coach. I know they pay 7 crore or whatever a year, but even if that is not inviting the best talent, make it bigger. So you are sitting on a gold mine, yeah? We keep cribbing about players getting 25 odd crore for IPL
But
for 40, 60 days. Give it to the coach if that is the case, to invite the best talent. So they say, no boss, above the IPL I will go to the Indian. That's one. Secondly, if somebody doesn't want to, no, I'm saying this is what surprised me, that players don't want to. In that I agree with BCCI, get rid of them. There are so many coaches in this setup. What has happened with star players? The star players, no, the big names, firstly don't necessarily make big coaches. They are attracted from the IPL side. The IPL teams pick up these big names, pay them money, let them go. That's not a loss of Indian cricket. There are so many cricketers who played years on, whether it was domestic cricket, whether they played little bit of international cricket, they're looking for work. The other thing star players get very easily is commentary contracts, which also pay a lot.
Yes.
So they're not keen in doing that. Few years, or we don't want to. I'm saying, get rid of them then. You go for the domestic stalwarts who've done well and have done well in coaching. They have an eye. Coaching, as I said, doesn't necessarily, some of the best football coaches, some of the best basketball coaches were never even players.
average players.
Yes, or were just average players. So go with them. People who have interest in coaching, people who have understanding of the game can improve it Go for them, whether they played little bit of international, no international, some coaching if they've done domestic level and different level. And I would like IPL teams also to do that, to give more chances to Indian. Go and target those players, they will go and become better coaches, and then you will get rid of this whole thing of not. My other point that I want everyone to chip in is
I had
sure,
just like
please,
one more
please,
point
please.
that now that we have established that it's a very tough job and obviously working lesser months in a year can still get you more money, there are two things that I still feel like really deserve a lot of attention. Number one is that if you are appointed the coach of the India men's cricket team, obviously you're going to have to work for 10 or 11 months, which clearly means that you would not just be answerable to the stakeholders of the BCCI, but you would also be, it will be very difficult for you to satisfy the fans, not probably in just terms of results. And secondly, if white noise can get the better of a certain Justin Langer, knowing that he was at the helm of the top job in the Australian cricket, why can't it happen to someone in the Indian cricket circuit? I think this is something that we pretty much neglect.
Let's just
more often
explain
than
that
not.
as
it's
in
the mental health thing also, that when you know that you're following the process, you're still not getting the results. I think these things can get to you, and in India the trolling gets to probably to the next level.
But that comes with the territory, no?
Yeah.
I know that anyone who takes up that job comes with this, that there will be a lot of pressure on you, trolling, it will affect your mental health. But I'm just saying that's with every job, right? Like you are going to be a Real Madrid coach, it comes with it. But there's a line of people who want to be that.
But what I'm trying to say here is that if a certain Australian job, the white noise can get the better of a certain Justin Langer who is known to be very mentally tough, it can happen to a certain someone in the Indian cricket circuit also.
Correct, but I'm just saying that's part and parcel of the coaching assignment. Na? You can't take that away.
Yeah.
You can't sensitize fans ki mat karo kuch ek coach hai,
This is your KRA.
वो नहीं हो सकता. So my point is there should still be enough people who are ready to take that job. It's a high profile job. As I said, I don't think, here though it is still okay. Why I keep giving example of football, it's the most popular sport. People have been shot dead. There are threats, live threats. But it's not that there is any dearth of people who wanting to coach that. There are people who enjoy that kind of. Jose Mourinho gets sacked everywhere, gets abused. Everybody enjoys that high pressure job. He wants to take it. So my point is there are really a gazillion candidates there. Yes, if you can't take the heat, you get out. Okay, you get out. Fine. For somebody who is not suited to that, he will. But I'm saying there will be gazillion people who enjoy that, revel in that. They enjoy the pressure. So I would want them. And the thing I can't understand about working 10, 11 months. You work 12 months a year. I work 12 months a year. People who are watching work 12 months a year. Everyone does it.
See, that is a KR.
It's nothing like, unless you're a billionaire, then you decide how much my dad is a billionaire, I can work as much as you want. And that probably is the position they are in.
Exactly.
Because they have so much to choose from. That's why I'm saying go to the guys who are hungry, who are ready to take that pressure, who have also played cricket and have the knowledge, who are ready to take that pressure, who are ready to be 11 months a year with the team. Go for them.
Most coaches, like even a Ricky Ponting, if he's coaching 2 months a year, the rest of the 10 months he's in Australia, he's getting TV gigs. Does he need the money? No.
Yeah.
Does he coach DC just out of a passion thing that, okay, I'm staying in touch with the game? Yes. Why aren't you looking then at those people? And this is where the problem comes with only looking for a superstar coach or a superstar name. You're ignoring a lot of the people who would actually want to be coaching, who would want to take that load, who are like, listen boss, I'm ready to give 10 months in a year to this cause. I'm good with it. The money is kind of secondary. You're not looking at those people. Ironically, the Indian team has done it when they brought in someone like an Amol Muzumdar to coach the women's team. But there's less ego managing that needs to be done. With the men's team, you've kind of fenced yourself into a corner that you are appeasing the egos. So now then to control the egos, you need a big name.
If I could just do an advert or send a pitch out to all the superstar coaches who are right now don't want to work, they're happy with IPL, enough money, commentary. If I can just send a pitch out, the only thing I'll say is, if you become coach of the Indian team and India goes on to win a major title, you would have a demigod status in this country, which I'm afraid you will never get no matter how much commentary you do. You will never get no matter how many IPL titles you win. You may make a certain group of people happy by winning an IPL title. A certain section of supporters of that team, and even that there will be very limited who will still rate that IPL title much more than India. But if you were to win an Indian title, you would get honorary citizenship. I mean, to that level in India. Yeah, so just that is the thing to drive you. It's not the money, and that's why I try to tell you that is the drive. Like if I was an international player, I'm not going to be looking at money and comfort or whatever. If I'm up to it. If I'm not, I've had enough that traveling took a toll on me while playing, and I want to, then that's separate. But if I really want to be the best coach in the world, if that is my ambition in my second half of the career, I'll go for the India job. That will make or break me. At that, there cannot be anything else.
Plus, I think for the overseas guys, adjusting to the system in India is a big challenge.
That is my next question. Answer that, which is that now he's thrown him under the bus.
Yes.
Justin Langer, KL Rahul, that he has said. Firstly, I want to know: is there politics in Indian cricket? What must have prompted KL Rahul to say this to a Justin Langer? Has KL Rahul been at the receiving end of the politics? What do you reckon?
If anything, KL Rahul has gotten one of the longest ropes in Indian cricket. So he's probably been a beneficiary of anything that happens on the top level. Yes. But if he is feeling the heat, and I'm going to take his statement with some merit, because again, you have to remember what we're hearing is Justin Langer's paraphrase. He may have said something totally different.
No, he would have said something that may not be as blunt as he's said. But indicated.
But bhavna same. Bhavna samjho, that is the exact bhavna.
Yeah.
Now, see, with KL also, he's been someone who, even though he's had a long rope, also had to wait very long for his break. For years, he was a rising talent. Maybe he felt that was something that, it could have been sped up. Maybe he felt it was something that was holding him back. I don't really know. But what we do know is that when it comes to politics in Indian cricket, it's nothing new. Maybe it's just been refined over time, and now it's a little less overt than it would have been.
See, it can't be substantiated, okay, whether politics did happen in the case of certain players. But from the 60s onwards until 70s, politics had a major role in Indian cricket. The Delhi-Mumbai, the Delhi-Bombay instance, okay. The instance of politics being played out was in the Greg Chappell era.
Yeah.
Okay. Ganguly, the entire fiasco. Even in 2000, in the tour of South Africa, you saw the politics being played out on the broader world cricketing stage. Jagmohan Dalmia and Malcolm Speed, in the aftermath of the tampering scandal in Port Elizabeth. Bombay-Delhi rivalry was such that, okay, this player is there, lobbying, where did all the stories of lobbying come from? It's from the 70s. So, it is very hard to substantiate. Let us be very honest. It's all like everybody's politics is involved in all of this, but it is very hard to quantify and substantiate it. Now, KL Rahul in this case, why did he have to say that when already his fortunes have taken a nosedive? I really don't know.
No, but see, he wouldn't have known. He would not have known that this will come out. So he said it, whatever he felt. That's my point is, rather than questioning him, why did he say it? I want to know what happened to him that he was to say that. See, he said it in good faith, thinking that it's a private conversation, it'll rain between the two of us, we share a good rapport, you're the coach, I'm the captain, we're working together, and the coach is asking him for some feedback about Indian cricket, and I've been honest with him. He does not know that he'll say it out, right? So that I don't blame him for, but what I want to know, why did he harbor that feeling? What may have happened?
See, some maybe early days in the KSCA, some instance.
No, KSCA, why will he tell Justin Langer? Justin Langer
about the Indian team.
Something, okay.
No,
Indian
he spoke about the Indian team.
Okay, so substantiatedly, there is nothing to prove that.
Yeah.
In the Indian cricket team as per. See, where we are at this point in time, politics, nothing can top what's going on in the DTCA. Nothing can beat that. Delhi District Cricket Administration Association, that is, look at the layers and layers of politics that's been going on for 2 to 3 decades.
Yeah, but again, Indian team now. We are talking only of Indian team. I don't want to know of KSCA, DD, because he's not told him about that. He's not applying for the Delhi coach's job.
But then I can't find any instance of politics in the Indian team.
Siddharth had.
There are two things. Number one, if we just go by the words that Justin Langer has used, in that discussion, there were 2 words: pressure and politics. Number one is pressure. I think KL Rahul is pretty much right there in saying that.
That nobody is
disputing that.
Let's just quantify that thing. Let's just be elaborative on that. And second is politics. I think if you look at it from just one perspective, Justin Langer has just made a statement. It is not the full part of the conversation that he had with KL Rahul. So definitely there is more that has not been disclosed. He just gave a proper masala to a certain broadcaster that, this is just a part of the conversation. But yeah, coming back to that point, one thing is absolutely clear.
No, I don't think he gave it like he was giving masala.
But he just said it.
He said it without realizing the repercussions.
Okay, let's take
the flow. He said it
I said in the flow. He thought that this is not, just as Boucher didn't think, what he's saying.
So in terms of, I think, politics also, let's just, see it that a certain head coach, maybe at some point, may not have the maybe BCCI's backing of selecting a team or selecting a playing 11 for a particular series or a tournament. Let's just, I think even if you want to take an example of politics, I think it may not completely fit the bill here, but it can somewhat give a context. Let's just say that when Yuvraj Singh was not given the clarity by the BCCI that they are not looking at him, I think for the 2019 World Cup, it was a certain Indian player only who gave him that clarity. Okay, the board is basically not looking at you. So there is definitely there's some controversy or politics that's attached to it. So obviously there are a lot of things that go behind the scenes, but one that probably comes to my mind or really just stays with me is that as a head coach, you might not have sometimes might not have that much power to maybe select a team or a playing 11 based on maybe a specific tour or a tournament. That's where I think things might happen.
So when you're talking politics, if you talk Indian cricket, the first thing that comes to mind, as Siddharth points out, is the Mumbai lobby, Delhi lobby stuff. Yeah. But I think nowadays the way the sport is run, it's far more refined than that. The best example of seeing politics play out in front of you was the debacle of Kohli's captaincy ending. That was the real example of how ugly things get behind the scene, because you have an outgoing captain saying one thing, you have the chairman of selectors saying quite the other thing, and the politics there really comes from saving your own hide.
Yeah.
Wherein it's really a case of you're getting two contrasting elements, and it's like, wait, what do you believe? The truth, more often than not, is somewhere in between, because everyone's perspective here is a perspective. It may not necessarily be the absolute reality of what happened, but that is the politics. How do you then save yourself from that? Let's be fair, I read plenty of reports during the end of Kohli's tenure that he had alienated a number of players. That there were star players who were not happy with him. And I'm not even talking Rohit, I'm talking players beyond that. The Rohit Kohli thing had been simmering for years by that point in time, and it was an open secret within, again, I spoke to media people and you heard it. If you're hearing the same thing over and over, there's no smoke without fire. But there were a lot of other players who were not happy, and that's also the political angle that comes into it, is that these players may want to be, want a different approach, may want a new leader. They might feel they're not being valued in certain things. The politics comes in there, it's way more subtle, and maybe that is what KL meant when he said that if you think it's bad for an IPL franchise, where also players are very desperate to look out for themselves, because again, you can get selected one year, you can get cut the next, you can be on a superstar contract one year and you can go unsold the next. If the politics there is bad, imagine it for the Indian team.
Recently, Hanuma Vihari.
But that you're still taking it in literal politics. I'm talking
exactly.
about it more the
team politics.
It's in more subtle ways.
And in all of this, by the way, in all of this, the one other person they may have upset a lot, which again nobody is talking about, is the IPL team itself. Because you base your whole thing by saying, if you think there is politics here, there is and then Justin Langer making it worse by saying, as soon as I heard that means I'm already fed up with the politics that is happening in the IPL team that I'm part of. You're telling me it's 1,000 times more than no, boss.
I'm sorry.
If I am the management or owners of LSG, I am calling both of them, giving them the pink slip, saying thank you very much. It's lovely knowing you guys.
All the very
best. Go look. Honestly,
no, I'm
seeing it like that.
I'm getting ready to have another meltdown in public.
Yeah, but even if I don't, even if I want to be
fire them in public.
No. Even if I don't, I want to be very corporate-like, ruthless. Without it, call them to my nice, fancy office. Send them a flight ticket. Call them, offer them tea, coffee. What do you have? Lovely. Meanwhile, gentlemen, here. Your contract is terminated as of today, as of 1700 hours. Thank you very much, man. You say anything else we can help you with? Whatever, you'll have some, sweets, dessert. No, bye-bye.
There's a more ruthless way, because Rahul as of now is no longer technically contracted to LSG. The contracts are done. Justin Langer was only signed on a 1-year deal. So actually,
So
technically,
they
neither of them.
actually have nothing to lose then. Maybe
No,
next year they won't pick.
Langer, by the way, has made it very clear that he hopes to continue working in the IPL. So maybe he's got no communication there. He won't rule himself out of the India job if he wasn't safe with the knowledge that he'd not be getting another gig somewhere.
Yeah.
And I mean, dare I say that I think that's whatever he said. One is multiple people have been affected. One, KL Rahul, poor guy. Now we'll have to answer probably the BCCI also that what did you mean, or maybe even his teammates as to what did you mean, or maybe even his captain, or maybe even his coach, Indian coach. Then, as I said, IPL team also wouldn't be very happy with this statement. Other IPL teams. If I am Kolkata, I am Sunrisers, I am Rajasthan, I am not going anywhere close to Justin Langer now.
Yeah,
I ain't.
you are not.
So one innocuous interview
Has set off a domino effect.
Yeah.
Which could curtail Langer's chances. But KL Rahul is on thin ice now for that comment.
There'll be some franchise desperate enough for the captain.
What was the joke you told me about KL coffee with what was that?
Oh, that coffee show.
The cough,
That he was part of another.
He was basically there. There, what happened was that he was an innocent bystander.
Yeah.
Everything was said by Hardik Pandya, and he was guilty by association.
They've just shot another episode
Yeah.
of Coffee with Karan without KL knowing.
Without KL knowing.
And there also, he didn't know half the things. Even I felt like that poor guy was just guilty by
caught.
association.
I know.
Hardik Pandya is rattling on one thing after the other. KL's just there sitting and giggling. Poor fellow got caught up.
But he had to bear the repercussions.
Yeah, big time.
And it's going to be ditto.
Yeah.
So it is Coffee with Karan part.
Although at least in this case, he did say something.
Well,
In
supposedly.
confidence. In
Supposedly.
confidence.
He could very well deny it.
I mean, that has happened.
Now, next time he will want to come with his mouth gag.
You know,
I'm
as
not
I-
speaking anything.
As I said earlier,
Like a pollard, he'll do a pollard.
it's not
Tape.
the full conversation.
I know he must have said more, but see again, it's always the operative. I actually, if KL as a person, if you know him or speak to people who know him rather well, he's quite a sorted, non-controversial kind of guy, not very assertive, likes to be, away from controversy, not brag, So
Yes.
he is the least likely to be involved in a controversy. See, you can have opinion about his batting, that's another thing that he has no control over. But I'm saying with his demeanor, the way he carries himself, he doesn't allow for a lot of negativity to come in or a lot of criticism to come his way because he handles himself very well off the field, however it is, his personal life. Yet he finds himself in two of the biggest controversies.
He will be
that
the
there have
classic
been.
case. दूध का जला भी छाछ फूक फूक के पीता है. That is how.
Yeah, coffee.
Yeah, coffee. Poor
Fuk
KL
fuk.
Rahul.
Oh, God.
No, it's a terrible situation to be in, and he didn't need it. Especially when he was at his all-time low, not getting picked in the T20 World Cup. Questions over whether he can play the format. After
Getting
yet
shouted
another-
at by his owner.
Getting shouted at in public.
Okay, final bit, all of us. Now that the BCCI has made it pretty clear, whether out of anger, whether out of disgust, whether out of revenge, whatever, that we are looking at any overseas coach, we are looking at any Indian coach, is that, not what led to it that we've discussed, but the plan. Is that a good plan, good choice? No.
No. You should always look at who the best person is for the job, regardless of whether he's Indian, South African, Australian, New Zealand, Somalian, doesn't matter. Is he the best man for the job? If the answer is yes, you go for that.
American,
Yeah.
like Ted Lasso, they got him to be a football coach
Yeah.
He did
in
okay.
the US. Yeah.
He did okay.
But the Glazers haven't done it well for Manchester United.
You
I
do-
mean, they're owners.
Owners, yeah. but still.
and don't talk about American owners. My blood will boil.
I know.
Ha.
Yeah, I'm fine with having an Indian coach.
You're Chandrakant Pandit.
Yeah,
Yes.
I've stated it earlier also that I don't mind having an Indian coach because I think the players are more comfortable with a certain Ravi Shastri or even a Rahul Dravid. We have seen this thing in the past 7 to 10 years, and I think I wouldn't mind having another, maybe a Gautam Gambhir or a Chandrakant Pandit or anyone. My personal favorite is Chandrakant Pandit.
Yeah.
And but there's one point that I still feel should be there. That would you really want to have a coach for all the formats?
Yeah.
This is something I'm not sure,
Yeah.
how a certain Indian coach would be able to do it because see, we have to. Everyone would
No,
have to
let's
look
say
at different
Gautam.
factors
Let's say
also.
Gautam. Why can't he do all format? He was a very good test player. He's
He
played
can.
ODI cricket, a World Cup winner at that, T20 World Cup winner,
And
now
IPL multi-
IPL. So what?
I think you can look towards specialization.
Yeah.
You can. I'm not saying, but I'm just
for now,
saying if
I
you
don't
had a
think
candidate,
BCCI
let's say like Gautam, can't he do all?
Yeah, he could,
Yeah.
but he'd probably be one of few. You're narrowing down your own pool, I think, by keeping the job that way.
Well, Rahul Dravid, his test and ODI credentials,
doubted,
but T20, yeah, he played one T20 game, hit 3 sixes in an over.
31 runs.
Yeah, one T20 match he played for India and played IPL for a few
IPL,
seasons.
For RR
Yeah,
and RCB.
And has coached in IPL T20 teams in Rajasthan. So
Rajasthan.
again, if he
Multiple,
was to
he
do
coached
it,
DC also.
so he has enough T20 experience also.
Okay, one name actually came to my mind that I think none of us has probably predicted, because he was the same guy who said that I might be interested in coaching India, but the stint is probably going to be 1 or 2 after Dravid, and his name is Saurav Ganguly.
Ooh,
He be the one.
yeah, he would want to.
He did say that, you know, the time's going to come, but currently it's not the right time, and it was when, and he I think said it a few days before Dravid was appointed.
Yeah. But I think he may want to now take over the Delhi team
First.
officially.
Yeah.
I think after that he may.
Because
Well,
Ponting and Desai are parted.
I know that he wanted to be at one point, and you're
Yes.
right, he said it. He could be. Why not?
It just struck me that
Yeah,
he did make a comment.
Good point.
Ganguly. I
Dada
would
is a
say.
T20 coach.
Why Dravid also had success in that way.
But Ganguly is not coached a T20 team and he had no
He
success
will now.
in.
He will now.
He will.
Oh god, yeah.
Delhi Capitals.
हाँ जल्दी.
So I would say that yeah, an Indian is the best fit for it because the system here is too complicated. A foreigner might not be able to adjust to it as easily as it was in the previous decades.
Yes.
Gary Kirsten.
John Wright.
But why did he not seek an extension then?
Because
Well,
he also wanted
different
time with his
challenges.
family, yeah?
Exactly.
That's the same
Now
thing
he's
for
again
John
taken
Wright,
an
like.
Asian team only with double the politics
yes.
that you'll get in India.
He's
He'll
on
be out of
a
a job in 3 months.
he's on a landmine at this point in time.
So
Please
he's
don't
taken-
use such words.
Okay, fine. He's actually in a very, very, you may say, volatile territory at this point in time.
Yeah.
Gary Kirsten.
better.
Better? Okay. So, okay. But he's taken it after a decade. The
Yeah.
last time he did it.
No, that I agree. Maybe he needed some time off, which is fine. So you do a high pressure job for a few years. You say now I need some time off. You take.
But I think looking at the current scenario in the BCCI, I think an Indian can only try to make sense of the system here. So that's why
Okay.
I would say an Indian, and GG is the front runner for me.
I mean, I in a way agree with Shane that go for the best guy. But personally, if you ask me, I would also like an Indian coach. I'll tell you why. Because I do not understand the obsession with only going at Aussie coaches and so on.
Yeah.
We have our own way of playing cricket, and why isn't the Indian way the best way? So you know, push for that. Indian coaches have shown you were never, and IPL you were never ready to give them chances. Now that you have, you're seeing the results. And so I'm be Indian, buy Indian. So get a Indian coach.
Make in India.
Yeah. Anything else anybody wants to say?
Nope.
Good.
Anything you had felt like saying? Anything? Any message you want to send
I
to
think
your
Saurav
family?
Ganguly could once again, I think his name could do the rounds in the next few days.
Dadagiri.
It could happen.
But first, I think DC would be his first target.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any message you want to send anybody to? Girlfriends, wives, kids,
No.
to anybody out there?
Look how nicely he denies it.
I have to deny it. It's said in confidence, by the way.
Okay, you guys let us know in the comment section as to what do you make of the various big points that we discussed. One, what is the genesis of the release? Why do you think BCCI sent that release out? We'd love to know your opinion. Secondly, the idea of just having an Indian coach. Thirdly, you know, is there politics in Indian cricket? Is it the true reflection of what KL Rahul said? Is that what really happens in Indian cricket? What is your view from the outside? Do let us know. Look forward to your comments. Meanwhile, give us a like if you enjoy our video.
Subscribe.
And subscribe.
And
We're nearing the 400k mark.
400K.
Help us reach there quickly and join us for non-stop coverage of the final. Already lots of videos up, and of course we start at 6:45,
yes.
15 minutes before our usual time of 7 p.m. to build up to the final.
Yep.
So we'll see you.
See you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Natsuri.
Sinhag is already supporting SRH.
No.
Go.
He's actually backed KKR very publicly.
Yes.
You wouldn't want to hear it in his voice.
No,
I'm
please
telling you,
don't.
please. Yeah.
Bye.
Especially the Dakkani one. Bye.